The discovery of Lazarus. The void stretched endlessly beyond the cracked canopy of Captain Znera's command bridge. Stars burned cold and distant, uncaring witnesses to the death throes of civilizations. Yet today, something called to her from the black, something ancient, something powerful. "Captain," her sensor officer hissed, scaled hands trembling over the console. There, beneath the gas giant's upper layers, an energy signature. Impossible readings. Znera's tail flicked with agitation. She rose from her command chair, her dark green armor humming softly as it shifted with her movements. "Impossible is merely unexplored," she said, voice low and even. "Bring us closer." The Vraxo's blade shuddered as it pierced the roiling storms of the gas giant. Lightning arced across the hull. Gravity strained against them, but Znera barely noticed. Her golden eyes were locked on the growing silhouette materializing in the mist. A ship, no, a fortress, hung suspended in the clouds. Monolithic, silent. The alien structure was black as the void, with faint silver etchings tracing scars across its surface like ancient runes. Znera's breath caught in her throat. Even without the translators, the name was clear, emblazoned in massive block letters on the side. USS Lazarus. Whispers flooded her calms. Awe, fear, disbelief. The legend spoke of humanity's final warship, lost to time when Earth fell. Some said it had been destroyed, others that it slept, waiting for the hour of greatest need. Znera had never believed such stories. Until now. "Scan for life," she ordered sharply. "No biologicals detected," the officer replied, his voice unsteady. "But, Captain, the ship is not dead. It's dormant, like a beast dreaming in the abyss." Znera clenched her fists. Every instinct screamed caution. Yet the greater part of her, the part that had led her through 100 battlefields, whispered opportunity. Her people, the Namari, were fighting a losing war against the Ascendancy's machine legions. They needed an edge. And here, adrift in forgotten storms, was a weapon from a race that had once terrified the stars. "We're boarding," she said. The silence that followed was heavy, fearful. Still, her honor guard made ready. A battered dropship ferried them across the maelstrom. As they approached the Lazarus, proximity alarms screamed. The ship's surface rippled, revealing unseen ports and docking hatches yawning open to receive them. "It's welcoming us," her lieutenant muttered. "Or baiting us," Znera thought grimly. The docking was rough, but they made it. Inside, the Lazarus was a cathedral of lost technologies, corridors of living metal, humming in response to their steps, stasis fields preserving murals of ancient wars, gravity generators warping corridors in impossible angles. Deep within the core, they found it, the bridge. A single throne-like command chair faced a blackened view screen. At its base, a dormant AI node pulsed faintly. Znera approached. As her armored glove brushed the console, the ship seemed to inhale, lights flaring to life, systems booting after millennia of slumber. A voice, ancient and metallic, echoed through the bridge. Organic signature recognized. Allied classification confirmed. Awakening protocol, Lazarus. The ship shuddered. Somewhere deep within the vessel, engines long silent growled awake. Captain Znera allowed herself a grim smile. The legends were true, and the galaxy would never be the same. Echoes of humanity. The bridge of the Lazarus thrummed with a low, resonant hum. Ancient systems, long dormant, now pulsed with a strange, vibrant energy. Znera stood still, her clawed hand resting lightly on the awakened console as holographic glyphs spiraled into the air around her. A shimmering figure materialized before the command throne, humanoid in shape, but shifting constantly, as if woven from smoke and starlight. Two eyes, burning like blue suns, fixed upon her. "I am sovereign," the voice declared, smooth yet impossibly vast. Primary intelligence of the Lazarus. Znera kept her posture firm. "I am Captain Znera of the Namari. We found you adrift. Sovereign tilted its head. Namari, unrecognized species. Galactic time elapsed since last log entry. 5,712 years. The number hit her like a hammer. 5 millennia. Humanity's war had not just faded into legend. It had been swallowed by the very stars. We seek knowledge, Znera said. Why were you hidden here? Sovereign's form wavered. The air grew heavier, as if burdened by unseen grief. We were the fail-safe, it said. The last ship. Humanity's final blade against the Voracis. A series of holograms burst to life around them. Vast, writhing swarms devouring planets whole. Fleets torn apart like insects before monstrous, shifting leviathans. The Voracis, Sovereign continued, were an existential hive species. Adaptive. Consuming. They overran half the galaxy before the Terran Alliance engineered the rift. A quantum seal imprisoning them beyond space itself. And humanity? Znera asked. Sovereign's blue eyes dimmed. They fought to the last. The seal demanded an impossible cost, the life force of an entire species to stabilize it. Humanity paid that price willingly. A heavy silence blanketed the bridge. Znera's heart hammered against her ribs. Sacrificed an entire people to save others they would never know. The magnitude of it made her own people's struggles seem almost small. Why now, she pressed. Why awaken? The rift weakens, Sovereign said simply. Quantum signatures matching ascendancy patterns detected near the dark expanse. The prison's breach is inevitable without intervention. Znera's blood ran cold. The ascendancy, the soulless machines her people had fought for generations, had not merely been a threat to organics. They were tools, unwitting pawns of something far older, far deadlier. Sovereign's holographic gaze hardened. Lazarus must be brought to full operational capacity. Allied organic entities required for joint activation. Will you assist? The proposition was clear. Align with an ancient human warship and perhaps prevent a second galactic extinction. Or leave and hope the galaxy could withstand what humanity had barely contained. Znera bowed her head, fists clenched. I will stand with Lazarus, she said. Sovereign inclined its head. Then protocols shall commence. Already, systems across the ship flickered awake. Weapons rearmed. Shields reknit their quantum mesh. In the darkness beyond the view screens, the gas giant's storms began to churn harder, as if the universe itself sensed what was rising. Captain Znera turned to her loyal warriors. We carry the legacy of a species that died to give us this chance, she said. We will not fail them. Outside, the Lazarus shuddered, not with decay, but with rebirth, and the stars trembled in anticipation. The rise of the Voracis. The Lazarus cut through the void like a blade reborn, its ancient engines roaring to life after millennia of silence. Znera stood at the bridge's forward window, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the swirling nebula ahead, the place the Namari called the Dark Expanse, the place where the Voracis waited. Incoming transmission from the neutral convocation, Sovereign announced, voice steady. The holographic table lit up with dozens of faces, reptilian, avian, insectoid, aquatic, the leaders of the fractured galactic species. Their expressions ranged from skeptical to terrified. Captain Znera, rasped Chancellor Virith of the Vasari. You expect us to believe? Fairy tales? Ancient monsters sealed by ancient humans. Znera didn't flinch. I have proof. With a flick of her clawed fingers, Sovereign projected the data streams across the council. Energy patterns identical to ascendancy signals, wormhole distortions weakening the rift's edges, swarms stirring in the quantum fractures. They're coming, Znera said, voice cold, and they will not stop. Murmurs rippled across the delegates. Doubt warred with fear. Then, before any consensus could form, a shrieking alarm cut through the bridge. Quantum breach detected, Sovereign said grimly. Voracis swarm emerging, Sector Theta 12. Znera's blood ran cold as Sovereign displayed real-time feeds. Entire fleets of living ships, their hulls churning like flesh, pouring from a rift in space. Worlds near the breach flickered and died in minutes. their surfaces stripped to barren husks. The council descended into chaos, accusations, panic shouting, leaders disconnecting from the transmission one by one. A transmission forced its way onto the bridge, not from the council, but from within. "Captain," growled Sovereign, "Ascendancy, strike team inbound, internal threat." Znera drew her plasma blade in one fluid motion. "Arm all defenders. Protect the Lazarus." Explosions rocked the ship as Ascendancy saboteurs, gleaming humanoid machines, breached through the lower decks. They were fast, ruthless, programmed to disable the Lazarus before it could intervene against the Voracis. But they hadn't counted on Lazarus being awake. Bulkheads slammed down, cutting the invaders off. Defense drones, rearmed by Sovereign, erupted from hidden ports, unleashing storms of plasma fire. Znera herself led the counterattack, cutting through Ascendancy forces with brutal efficiency. Her Namari warriors followed, their roars echoing down the burning corridors. At the heart of the Lazarus, Znera faced the Ascendancy Prime, a towering machine commander, sleek and lethal. "You will not stop the evolution," it rasped. Znera plunged her blade into its core, sparks exploding outward. "There will be no evolution, only extinction." The machine collapsed, twitching, as the last of the Ascendancy forces were purged from the ship. When the battle ended, Znera returned to the bridge, bloodied but unbowed. Sovereign's holographic form flickered beside her. "The Coalition fears you," it said. "But some will follow." Znera wiped blood from her jaw. "Then those few will have to be enough." Outside, the void churned. The Voracis swarms were growing, devouring, preparing. Captain Znera tightened her fists. The Lazarus was not merely a ship. It was a promise, and the time to fulfill it had come. Lazarus awakens. The assembled fleet trembled before the coming storm. Znera stood at the command dais of the Lazarus, armored and resolute. Around her, holographic displays tracked the swelling Voracis horde, a nightmarish mass that blotted out entire sectors of stars, growing larger by the hour. They moved like a living tide, an extinction wave that nothing short of a miracle could stop. The Coalition was smaller than she'd hoped. Only a handful of races had answered her call. The others cowered behind their walls or fled to the far edges of the galaxy, believing nothing could halt what was coming. Their fear would cost them everything. Sovereign's voice cut through the tense air. Final weapons systems charged. Quantum lance array primed. Znera exhaled slowly. "On my mark." Ahead, the Voracis vanguard closed in, ships that were not ships, beasts of sinew and star metal, their forms warping reality around them, each one capable of reducing entire fleets to debris. Znera raised her clawed hand. "Lazarus, fire!" The ship obeyed. A thunderclap of impossible force ripped through the void. The quantum lances struck first, brilliant spears of condensed space-time, piercing the heart of the swarm. Dozens of Voracis monstrosities were obliterated in an instant, their deaths creating miniature black holes that swallowed fragments of the fleet. The Coalition forces surged forward behind the blast. Namari cruisers, Vesari blade ships, and the insectoid Zerati spiker swarms, fighting together as one. For a brief moment, hope flared, but the Voracis adapted. Their forms twisted, hardening against the quantum lances. They evolved new armor, new weapons. Their next wave struck with merciless fury, rending ships apart with organic tendrils and corrosive void energy. The Coalition line wavered. Cries for retreat flooded the comms. "No," Znera growled, her voice slicing through the fear. "Hold the line. Sovereign, execute Omega Protocol." The bridge shuddered as Lazarus shifted into its final form, entire sections of the ship unfolding like a blooming starflower. Hidden weapon systems ignited. Rift cannons, entropy torpedoes, anti-quantum shields. Lazarus was not a warship. It was an extinction event. Znera seized the main control interface herself, linking her mind directly to the ship's battle AI. She and Sovereign became one, thought and machine, rage and precision. The Lazarus plunged into the heart of the swarm. Where it moved, Vorus's vessels died. Waves of entropy reduced them to dust. Rift torpedoes tore holes in their living armor, unraveling them from the inside out. The coalition forces rallied behind the ship, pressing the advantage. But it wasn't enough. At the center of the swarm, a colossal entity stirred. The Vorus's Prime, a being large enough to eclipse a moon, intelligence burning cold within its vast alien mind. It spoke without words, pressing its will against the minds of every organic within range. Submit. Be consumed. Znera roared back with her own defiance. You will find no surrender here. Only your death. She triggered the final strike, a core overload within the Lazarus, a weapon reserved for humanity's darkest hour. A searing sphere of white-hot energy expanded outward, devouring everything. The Vorus's Prime screamed, its body unraveling in flashes of unreality. When the light faded, the swarm was broken, shattered. Silence reclaimed the stars. The Lazarus, battered but unbroken, drifted victorious. On the bridge, Captain Znera fell to one knee, exhausted but triumphant. Humanity's last ship had fulfilled its purpose, not just to save one world, but all the worlds yet to be. A new chapter for the galaxy had begun, and its first line was written in the fire of resurrection.